In today's episode of HR Visionaries, we talk to Ursula from All for One. We talk about employee engagement and how they set up the survey. Stay tuned. Welcome to HR Visionaries, where we unlock the secrets of modern HR. I'm Benjamin, your host. Join us as we shed light on today's HR universe with HR leaders and innovators from across the globe. Whether you're an HR pro, a business leader, or just curious about the future of work, this is your shortcut to the forefront of HR innovation. Brought to you by Hire, the AI talent attraction platform. Welcome to the latest episode of HR Visionaries. I'm very much looking forward to my guest today, Ursula. It's great to have you.
Thank you, Benjamin, for having me.
Ursula, it's a great pleasure that we talk again. So last year we already spoke, and now you started a new firm as in a very senior role. It's very cool to have you back again. Ursula, can you tell us a bit about yourself? Who are you?
Yeah, so who am I? That's sometimes not an easy question, but in general, I'm 50 years old. I have 2 kids, but they are grown up already and have their own lives. I'm a grandma of a very little one now, and I have a partner. So that's my private setting, and professionally, I'm the CHRO of the All for One group. I'm doing this since 1st of November, and now I'm in this role, and I have the great privilege to shape the future of the companies and help also to make a good environment and a vibrant workplace for our employees. And before I started this role, I had some kind of a journey behind me, but this is perhaps something we will touch on later.
Indeed, because I'm wondering, so as a CHRO, was it always something you aspired?
No, definitely not. I was always kind of pushy in terms of my career. So I very much knew that I wanted to progress my career and I wanted to do important steps. But I never really had an idea where I want to end and what my big aspiration is. It sometimes happens somehow, and one thing led to the other. So I started in R&D, actually, in a very technical environment in software development, and I was concentrating on user interface, documentation, and then also processes, how software development works and how the development areas should interact with other areas in the company, and how a good release cycle is, and all these topics, also agile implementation. And then I moved over to internal audit, which was completely different, but was extremely valuable. So although you are the bad girl at the end of the corridor, no one wants to talk to you because you're internal audit. I enjoyed this very much because it gave me very deep insight into the mechanics of a company, financially, but also from a compliance standpoint and from a process standpoint. And this was for me the trigger to come to the point where I said I want to shape something actively, because if you are always afterwards, after the facts, detecting things and raising the red flag, I rather wanted to be proactive and preventive. And this is then when I had the opportunity to start into process consulting and end-to-end process optimization with a digital component of making the processes automated and digital. Then I did this for several years, and then suddenly there was a transformation in front of the door, coming from a very much license-based go-to-market model to a subscription SaaS cloud go-to-market model and company setting. And I had the great opportunity to help leading this transformation, also with an efficiency and simplification aspect. Doing strategy, and then I was building up the global PMO, project management office. And then suddenly HR called and asked me to join HR. And this was never my intention, but I can really say I found my love in HR, because you can have a really great impact and a big impact and shape for good, yeah, for every employee. And this is where I am now. And in HR, I had various roles and quite fast progressed there. And now I'm really happy, because being a CHRO is for me the best opportunity to combine the skills I had the chance to assemble and now apply. So the digital skills, the process skills, but also the HR skills, the compliance skills. And this is making me happy.
Well, one can certainly see this. This is very fulfilling for you. I'm wondering, so you mentioned, so you worked in R&D, you worked in software development, and well, it was obviously some time ago. How did you position yourself in in a tech company, in a tech role? Over here in Germany, it's still it's still a challenge for companies to find women for mint jobs, women in the software space, in particular. So under the umbrella term women in tech, it's still quite a challenge for many companies.
Yeah, it is indeed. And also now in the All for One, where I'm the CHRO, we are still not there. And we have a quite nice, or not really where I want to be, but a good female ratio. But it's always these technical jobs where we have difficulties. Consulting jobs, yeah, in SAP consulting. For sure, we have female SAP consultants, but not equally. And it starts with the education and the upbringing. And I think that our society is making big progress at the moment, also with how we raise our kids and how we raise our children, and that it's becoming more natural to not specify in one area and to be very open in all aspects. Also the gender aspect, working more inclusively, and also talking about this and raising the awareness. So I have hopes that it's progressing now with a new mindset which is out there in our society, but still it's not where we should be. And for sure the lack of educated workers is not helping, because this is increasing the difficulty. So yeah, I think we should really start with how we bring up our children and how school is working, because here you lay the foundation also for what young people choose for their education and for their study. I personally think that we should really very much from the beginning on put our children into different roles and into different challenges. And I can just say my father, for instance, he always, and he was a mechanical engineer, he always said, okay, help me here, help me there. And there was no difference between me and my brother. And I think that's the first key point, which then cascades up into the business and into the firms. But what I also see that more and more women are entrepreneurs, which are very much like building up their own company. And I think this is also helping. But we as women in tech, and now it's a little bit different from me, because now I'm in HR, and this is a very typical, or usually a very typical female function. But looking back, we have to be much more vocal on how great it is to work in a technical environment and what benefit it brings to look from a different perspective. And just perhaps as a last thought, I think with artificial intelligence and this space, I see much more women progressing in this space, in this area, than in the typical information science jobs which we had before. So I see in artificial intelligence a really great opportunity for women to differentiate themselves and to have a big impact on the industry. Also for the sake of data, to have more diverse data, which should be put into our world database of artificial intelligence, because what is put in comes out. And if we put in our biases in the data, also the results of the artificial intelligence is biased. And here I see a big danger, but I have really also hopes here.
Well, it's actually my next question. So why is this actually important? So one could also say, well, it has always worked this way, and well, we have come quite far. So is it actually a problem? My perspective is, well, I think in particular in the world of AI and generative AI, you need a diversity, not just in terms of, not just because women are women and men are men, but diversity of ideas, diversity of approaches, diversity of, well, kind of also a bit of like different thinking.
Absolutely. And when I talk about diversity, it's not about male or female. There is much more to this. It's for sure the gender, but it's also the culture. It is the region you're in. It's the age. It's your it's also your experience you have made. So all these different aspects have to be considered if you're taking decisions or if you're implementing products. And the simple reason for this is because you want to have decisions and products which are valid for many people. And you have to have a representative input to have a representative output, which is used by your customers. And I wouldn't use a product where I know definitely it is built not with the intention to serve me also. And also for safety reasons. And there is this wonderful book, which was an absolute eye-opener for me, from Caroline Perez, Invisible Women. And it touches on so many different aspects, also on daily life, where different ideas or perspectives are not considered. And it has really sometimes also life-threatening outcomes. So especially or exactly this is the reason why we have diverse teams. It's not only because it's fashionable and cool and everyone says diverse teams are better. It's a necessity for us as a society to put the right things in, to get the right things out, and have valid things for all our society setting. And that's the reason why we have to be very cautious on how we build our products and how we take decisions.
You mentioned before well, very early on in our conversation, you are at All for One to build a vibrant workplace to shape for good. Why is this so important to you?
I think motivation is key. We spend so much time at work. And also I personally, I would not allow it to happen to me to be not happy at work. And I also know from my own experience, from my own life, but also what I see with my teams, if you are motivated, you simply have better outcomes. You're more productive. And it's not that I want to squeeze out our employees, definitely not. But I want to increase our retention. That's important because the hiring market is difficult, and we want to have the right skills. And having the right skills means people need to be willing to change, and people need to be willing to learn. And you don't learn and you don't change if you don't see the reason why and the purpose, and if you don't see the benefit, what's in for you. And this is on one hand a very commercial reason. But at the end of the day, it ties down to every employee saying, am I happy where I am? Do I want to stay? And can I give my best? And am I satisfied? And this is good for a company, but this is also good, in my opinion, for a society. Because having happy people in the society, and happy does not mean that everyone runs around with a smile at every time, but having joy and satisfaction and seeing how you can contribute for a bigger purpose. That's the important thing. And that's the reason why I'm committed to help building vibrant workplaces. This does not mean that we have to install massage sessions or something like this. It's more like, do I have the possibility to really perform at my best? And are there things which are hindering me? And then I want to get rid of them. That's my mission.
I found that incredibly interesting, given, I also think that, taking everything away from employees, that it may, stop them in being their very best is so good for the company and the employee at the same time. So to always have a fresh mind and create the best ideas. Because you can focus on your ideas and not on what's happening around me. It's very interesting. You focus so much on this. Can you tell us a bit about how do you find out what is important to people? So would it be, for example, the massage that would be the thing that everyone would love about the company? You would probably do that, right?
Yeah, yes or no. So for sure, you always have the perspective of an employer and you have the perspective of an employee. And my task is to bring that together somehow. And I'm absolutely convinced that also structure and performance and expectation management and pushing also employees is something which is good. It's not just about you get everything you want, because we are running a company which has to be profitable. Otherwise, the jobs would be in danger, and that's also not good. So just doing everything what employees want is also not the solution. Therefore, for instance, we just conducted an employee engagement survey. The results are now out very freshly this week. So the employees don't know it yet, but next week it will be disclosed. And this is something, this was for me one of the first steps in my new role, finding out where do we stand as a company or in the different teams, and what particular issues or opportunities do we have and what is working well. And that's the first step to me, to really find out and then have dedicated and concentrated actions on what we could really improve for the teams, but also for the company. That's the first step. The other step is I did in my onboarding a lot of interviews and sessions to really learn and listen. And I heard some patterns. And interestingly, just to share this, it's not always about the benefits or money. This is hygiene. And for sure, this has to work somehow. But many people shared with me, I want to have more structure. I want to exactly know what's going on there. I need transparency. And I really much like this conversation, but because they showed, for sure you have to take care of employee engagement and satisfaction and purpose and development and recognition. This is the one part, but the other part is be clear, be transparent. Do not say take your decisions and stick to them. So this predictability of a leader is also something which is really requested from the employees, and that's not new. I have observed this throughout my whole career. You can also take difficult decisions or go through very difficult times if you are clear, if you have structure, and if you are transparent, and also share bad news. So there are no bad news at the moment, but that's possible, and employees are valuing this, and it's not always about the massage.
Indeed. Well, you just mentioned the employee engagement survey. So how did you approach this in the first place? So that, I guess, requires a bit of preparation, a bit of, very deep thinking, what to ask who, and so on.
Yeah, I'm really proud that we managed this in an extremely short time. So my team was really busy, but we did it after just a few months and now have the results. We used an external provider, which is absolutely professional, and this was helping us enormously. And also to be comparable to our industry, because we want to see where we stand, not only internally, but also compared to our industry, to our competitors, but also being able to really interpret the results better. It wouldn't make sense to compare ourselves with blue collar work companies. So the IT industry is simply different. And therefore this provider was helping us. And but beforehand, for sure, you have to make the concept, you have to evaluate the data, you have to see how do you want to cut the data, which additional information do you want. This was a project, and we run it through as a project, but we had really also good help from the business in getting the data right. Because as I said initially, what goes in comes out, and you have to be very thorough of what you feed to such a system to get out what you want to have.
What kind of buy-in do you need to conduct such a survey and such a project? So is it something where you need to get the entire C-level on board, or was it something that you pushed?
Yeah, you need full buy-in. It's a company, it's a complete company thing, and my board colleagues were extremely supportive on board and had been the advocates for this too. They all made small videos for the employees, and we really had an like a very multimedia rollout plan, but also the level below, which is our group management circle. They were extremely supportive, and we had a LinkedIn campaign about it because we were proud that we are doing this. And also employees, we identified key employees, ambassadors who can go into their organization and also help spreading the word. And we try to be as broad as possible. And this was designed for like a 4-week campaign. We explained every question with short videos. We really put in effort, but it paid out. And it's not about the result, it's more about the participation rate, which was my goal. I said I want to have 80% participation rate at least, and we cracked it. So it was over 80%. And that was for me the benchmark I wanted to reach. And because I wanted to have a representative, and here we are again with data, a representative view of where the company stands.
Well, does your background in audit, in R&D, help you to navigate those tasks in a very open manner? So since you don't have this classical HR background, but you have very much a R&D background.
Yeah, or process improvement, your business consultant background, more or less. It helps for sure, because I think I understand what the business needs. And that's for me the key point. I at least try to step into the shoes of the business to understand what they need in terms of measures or initiatives from HR. And for sure, IT industry is my branch, my industry, but I think that applies to every kind of business you are in. As an HR person, you have to have a deep understanding of how your company earns money, basically. and what do you sell, and what do you offer, and how are the mechanics of your business. And I just feel it's easier for me because I have this background, but for sure every HR person, everyone can learn this, but you have to learn it. And this requires effort. I think I can benefit from this. On the other hand, I don't have like a 25 years HR experience. This means I have to have a good team. which is helping me to navigate some of the HR topics where I'm perhaps not as experienced, like the 25 years, which others might have. So you always have your blind spots. But you have to be aware of them and build your support network, either in the one direction or in the other.
Ursula, what I find so interesting is that HR becomes more and more a function where data is absolutely key, and that more and more data becomes available. How do you coach those members of your team that are perhaps not as familiar with working with lots of data than someone with an R&D business consulting background? How do you coach them to embrace this new world of data being available, and working with data in the HR space makes a lot of sense?
Yeah, I think there are two topics which can help. The one is having dashboards which make sense, so self-service for managers, which means that there is like an analytics platform out there, and they can just drill into the data they need for doing their daily business. And the other topic is definitely data literacy. So understanding what data means and telling the story of data. And this is something many people have. On the other hand, not everyone has. And here we are simply also practicing. So having data, for instance, as an HR business partner and discussing the data with your customer is something which is absolutely key. And if there is someone in my team who's not so much skilled in it, we are simply practicing it. Sometimes they tell me the story, and what would you say to your customers? And let us go through. And same now with the data for the employee survey. What do you read, and which story would you tell? And then we're practicing it, and then next time it works. So this, how can I read the data, is something which is extremely important. But you can learn it. If you have done it a few times, then it works.
That's perfect. Ursula, can you tell us a bit about All-in-One? So what do you guys do? What is it all about? Not just a vibrant workplace, I guess, but much more than that.
Yeah, the All-for-One group is the one of the biggest IT and IT consulting company, and we are focusing on SAP implementation. So we are one of the biggest SAP partners, and we also have for sure other areas where we are doing consultancy, but this is our core business. And yeah, we are increasing our customers' competitiveness in a digital world. By also combining for sure the technical consulting with also business consulting. And we have nearly 3,000 employees. We are in more than 30 locations in different countries. We are in Egypt, in Turkey, in Poland, Switzerland, Austria, Germany, Belgium. And main area or main employees are for sure our consultants, but we also have a small product business area or entity. And in addition, we have a management consultancy entity, which is also working closely. It's a group structure, and the headquarter is in Bilderstadt near Stuttgart. That's also where I am most of the week, most parts of the week. And I sometimes feel it's like a hidden champion, because it's not so much known. For sure in the SAP space, it's one of the big names. But if you're not so much familiar with the SAP ecosystem, you might not know it. But that's sad, because it's a really great company, and everyone should know this better. But yeah, we are working on the brand awareness, and I was very much surprised when I informed myself in my hiring process about the company, how extraordinary this collaboration and values are the company is living. And that's also the reason why I joined. the culture there is very much helping each other. For sure, we have hierarchies, but they are quite flat, and everyone is approachable. Also, we in the board, we are always approachable, and I enjoy working with the leadership team very much. It's collaborative, and that's, I think, what our customers see, and very much appreciate the way of working. For sure, everyone can do consulting and coding, but I think the All for One makes a difference in how this is done and how relationships are managed and how we work internally. And this special feeling is something I definitely want to keep, and enhance and build up and strengthen in whatever I do, or my team is doing, or we as a board are doing, because that's important and really part also of our success and of our retention and attractiveness as an employer.
You mentioned, okay, well, you're working on the employer brand. In which dimensions do you do this? So how do you get the message out that All for One is a great employer?
Yeah, so we are in the middle of refreshing our employer brand at the moment, and there will be a rollout towards the end of the year. Definitely one thing which will be more in the focus is internationality. We are not celebrating this enough at the moment, but we're having it. And I think working in international teams is something which especially also young people very much enjoy. And putting this more into the forefront as a benefit, as something where also development is more possible. That's one part of the story we wanna emphasize. There is more to come, but this is one thing I already can disclose.
That's wonderful. Ursula, thank you so much for your time and for all your insights. Super interesting story. Yeah, great. Thanks again.
Thank you, Benjamin. It was a pleasure.
And thanks all of you for listening in, and see you next time.